All right, at this time, we'll call the December 18th, 2023 Planning Board meeting to order. Looks like we got everybody here, so we have quorum. If everybody will please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So you're like the only person out there. It's like weird.
We got a crowd tonight.
All right. Item 2A, approval of the meeting minutes from the November 20th, 23 Planning Board meeting. Purpose of this agenda item is to consider approval of the minutes. Everybody had a chance to review them? If so, questions, concerns, comments, motions?
One comment. Martinez that spoke, that's spelled M-A-R-T-I-N-E-Z.
What page is that on? Just trying to help you out.
Page 3, Sarah Martinez.
Uh-huh,
It's spelled with a Z instead of an S.
correct.
Just
Got it.
I move we approve them as written with the one
All right, got a motion?
correction.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. My favorite statement of the night, there are no public hearings on this evening's agenda, so we'll move on to item 5A, presentation, an update to the 2040 Comprehensive Transportation Plan. The purpose of this agenda item is to receive information regarding the update on the 2040 Comprehensive Transportation Plan. Further information provided by staff.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board. Let me try to get our screen moving here. Tonight we'll be discussing an update to the Fuquay-Varina 2040 CPP update. We'll give you an overview of some of the work that has been done thus far, as well. This includes the project background data collection and public engagement, and then we'll also touch on the next steps of the project that will occur over the coming months. So starting with the background, we've got we'll go over some of what the CTP is, kind of give you just a little refresher, talk about what we've heard with our public engagement, and then go over some of those next steps. Melissa, your mic's on. Sorry about that.
For what it's worth, we can hear you
Much
just
better?
fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so as a reminder of what the CTP, or Comprehensive Transportation Plan, is, this is a document that helps establish a vision for transportation in the town. It identifies both what we need in the future for transportation, as well as any deficiencies we may have. It makes recommendations for specific improvement projects and strategies to implement those projects and the desired results. And with that, we will have an action plan for implementation of those improvements. The plan will also identify more specific information in terms of ways that we can secure project funding, coordinate with future developments, and will shape our policy and program decisions. And this is important for the town so that we have control over the future of our transportation needs. Otherwise, other agencies can make those decisions for us. So this allows the town to have direct input in what we would like to see for our future roadway network and other transportation needs. So the project planning process has started with we have basically three major components, starting with our existing conditions, data gathering, and vision prioritization, moving into the development of multimodal recommendations, including recommendations for corridors, street cross-sections, and intersection improvements, and then that creation of an action plan, which is to support the implementation of the recommendations that come out of the draft plan. So throughout this whole process, there are public engagement activities where we're seeking input and feedback from the community and keeping the community informed as the plan progresses with what data has been gathered, and then the draft findings and recommendations as those are prepared. So we have several key elements of the plan. This includes updating the travel demand model so that we have more accurate representation of the known growth and development, so both where we are today as where we expect to head, making sure those numbers accurately reflect conditions. Also making sure that we're integrating multimodal uses, particularly since, as you recall, we recently adopted the Fuquay-Varina pedestrian plan. Also looking to update our cross-sections. So the cross-sections for our road, ensuring that those better reflect the emerging trends and roadway needs. Also looking to have a updated comprehensive set of projects that are necessary, looking at corridors and reflecting all modes of transportation. And that action plan or implementation plan is going to identify a path forward for funding and how we can, what order and prioritization these projects should have, so we have really a good roadmap for future work to keep our road network and transportation system up to snuff. So we'll discuss a little bit of the implementation, or the public engagement. So we've got two major parts. We've had our first phase of the engagement plan. Just wrapped that up at the end of November, and we'll be sharing those results in a few moments. And then we'll also be going out back to the public next year for the second phase of public engagement, where we'll be asking for feedback on the draft recommendations once those are prepared. So going into a little more detail on the first phase of public engagement, it focused on raising awareness of what a comprehensive transportation plan even is, having outreach that focused on refining the plan's vision. So we reviewed the existing conditions for the town with the public, and then also began to identify needs for each transportation mode with their feedback. So we're really happy to say we had great turnout during the phase 1 engagement. There were over 500 participants across the various outreach events and methods. So we had 2 meetings with our steering committee, which is made up of local technical experts, 4 small group meetings with local stakeholders, including civic groups, HOAs, developers, and industry representatives. We held 1 pop-up event at the Celebrate Fuquay-Varina Festival, and had 1 public workshop with interactive activities for folks to come out and give us their feedback in person. We also, throughout the course of all of those public activities or in-person activities, hosted an online survey on the Let's Talk FV portal and received over 400 responses. So our steering committee, as you can see by the list of names and organizations they're involved with, we really have a wide range of backgrounds and extensive technical expertise to support the CTP, and this is invaluable as the process moves forward. So we have a summary of some of those items that I mentioned in terms of the activities that have occurred for public engagement, and we'll walk through that. What you will see on the right hand of the screen, those little icons will appear throughout the summary of the results, so you can see where those that feedback was gathered from. And as I mentioned, this is only the first part of the engagement plan. There will be more to come as the project continues, and we're going to be, just want to make sure that folks know that there will still be many more opportunities for public participation, including additional in-person and online events, meetings, and activities. So going back to the engagement that's occurred so far, back in our 2035 CTP development, we had 6 guiding principles that were established, and those will be carried forward with this update. Those principles really establish a basic vision and are intended to focus the priorities throughout the planning process. So within our public engagement events, we ask people to rank the importance of each guiding principle in their opinion. The results are shown here, with safety and security being a top priority. So while all of these principles are important and they will all be represented in the outcomes of the plan, this question really helps us better understand where the public's priorities lie. Okay. So in each of our outreach activities, we also offered an option for the public to identify challenges and opportunities in our current transportation system on a map. Key themes from that feedback are as follows, and these probably will be not much of a surprise to our board either. There were concerns that there's too much congestion on both local and major roads, and that congestion could get worse with more development. There was a noted need to improve traffic signal management. There was interest in intersection safety and design, improving signal timing, adding signals at intersections that do not have them currently, adding left turn lanes, and utilizing roundabouts more often. There was a desire to expand active transportation infrastructure, connect and expand sidewalks, bike lanes, and greenways, and to improve safety along roads with better lighting for both pedestrians and drivers. So at our public workshop, as you can see, some of the images we have here, we asked folks to create their ideal street, but we wanted to challenge them to work within real-world constraints, such as the amount of right-of-way and context-sensitive features. Every road that was created by our participants included wider pedestrian facilities, some included bike lanes, and most included landscape features. So that provides a little indication of what the public's goals and what their interests are in our future roads. So as I mentioned, we received many results to our online survey. And when they were asked about the most important transportation issues facing them, the respondents answered traffic congestion and delay as the top issue. There was also noted a lack of adequate pedestrian and bicycle and facilities, ranking second and fourth respectively. And when asked why they don't walk or bike, a majority of respondents said there aren't enough facilities in town, and it feels unsafe to do so, which reiterates the results that are shown on our next slide. So as you can see, we have very detailed data outlining what folks' opinion of some of the different facilities or concerns might be. And we've got a really solid data to back up some of the information. We also collected demographic information from the participants who wish to respond and provide that. So overall, a majority of the survey respondents live in town, live in households that make over $50,000 a year, and identified themselves as white. Fuquay-Varina's median household income is about $94,000 for comparison, so it's right in line. So very much so, we had respondents who were living in town, were fairly average in many aspects. However, in age, we do have a little bit, we did see a little bit of an older representation of the population. Okay. So our next steps will actually be tomorrow night at the town board meeting. Pam will be providing a similar presentation to the board to give them this update and information in terms of the project progress. We are also looking at the, not sure. I say the next steps for the progress will be the consultant team developing the multimodal recommendations as well as the cross sections. And with that, we'll take any questions the board might have.
Anybody have any questions? Looks like we're heading in the right direction. No surprise there was a lot of red dots on that thing.
Yeah.
And where they were.
I was
Yeah.
wondering if some of the opportunity dots weren't actually issue dots. Did people see this is an opportunity to make an improvement here because there's an issue here? It would be interesting to know what those.
So the good thing is the data actually allowed for description answers for each of the dots that they put. So we have kind of, I guess, long form or long, sentence to describe what their concern was in addition to the specific location. So if it wasn't quite clear just by a dot on a map what the location was intended to represent, so we do also, they were able to include all of that information in their response.
I have a question about the fact that the demographics were a little bit skewed on this. Are we, for the next phase, are we looking at a way to kind of fill in those gaps?
So I think one of the interesting things is we actually received a very strong turnout towards the end of the kind of window. So it may be that folks were really energized and just turned out in higher than expected instead of the other groups not participating as much. But certainly I think it's always important that we try to reach out to as many folks through as many different venues or opportunities, and if they feel comfortable, I think it's the one great thing is we had a really large population that was comfortable with the online materials that we might not have expected to see just based on the the kind of the demographic breakdown of age. The other thing may be that while we have a very large percentage of younger folks in town, they are actually very young and they are under 18. And so they may not have participated directly. However, they may be indirectly represented by their family members or parents who could have responded thinking about their children as well.
Thanks.
You guys are still putting in the announcements, like in the water bills for them? Yeah.
Like we're working with the communications department, so any opportunity for the various different Fuquay-Varina mailers and newsletters and social media blasts, we'll do our best to get the word out there.
Yeah, I don't know what else you can do. It's not like you can put ads in newspapers anymore, really.
Or
So.
wouldn't do much good.
Yeah, there's not much more you can do there. All right, anything else? We can move on?
Great report.
All right, thanks. Guess we will move on to other business. Item 5B, recognition for Jim Chandler and Alex Ricard. Purpose of this agenda item is to recognize Jim and Alex for their service to the town of Fuquay-Varina on the planning board. Further information provided by staff.
Thank you. Well, while we appreciate every single one of you and the time that you and energy you dedicate to coming here once a month and serving, it is huge to staff and to the people that we have this wide variety of resources. You guys many of you are involved in land development in one way or another, and we truly appreciate it. We would like to take this time to appreciate someone who will be leaving us. Alex was not able to be here today, but Alex has served as our alternate from January 2018 until December 2023, and he has stepped in when we needed him to, and that has been always good to have a quorum and keep things moving forward. The development community always appreciates when we don't have to postpone something or delay it. Jim Chandler has served on this board from January 2017 to December 2023, so that's a lot of Mondays. And we really do. We appreciate it. It is a huge thing to volunteer your time and your energy and put yourself out there. And the recommendations that you guys make to the town board, they take very seriously, as you will see with our staff report, I think. So I think it's really, it's just awesome to have different attitudes and perspectives and things, especially sometimes staff, we get kind of focused in on things, and you guys sometimes bring to light some issues that maybe we didn't even think about, and through your discussions, it definitely lets the public feel like they can be part of the process as well, which I think is really important. So we do have a plaque for you we would like you to take with us, but we appreciate the time you've spent with us, and we will miss you, yeah. So if we can get a picture of you.
Are we all supposed to be in this picture?
Do you guys want to all get in here?
Sure, why not? Just in case.
Just in case. Jim, we're gonna miss you. I have a feeling that will be true. All right. We will move on to our last agenda item, 6A, the planning staff report. The purpose of this agenda item is to receive information on the disposition of the planning board's recommendation to the town board of the commissioners since the November 20th, 23 planning board meeting. I did actually attend the town board meeting after our planning board meeting, and it was interesting to see they did struggle with the same case that we struggled with. And one thing that I found that was really interesting that I wasn't really aware of was that they made a pretty big mention of the fact that we weren't unanimous. So which I thought was interesting, that even though it was in favor, that did weigh on them. So I think they do look to our recommendations as if we're not unanimous, why we were not unanimous. So it was very interesting. I think if we don't have unanimous votes, it does help for somebody to maybe be at the town board meeting and explain why we were not unanimous. So it was very interesting. But they struggled with some of the same topics we did on that very item. So I guess we're on sync, but it was interesting. So, for what that's worth. Anybody have any questions for staff on it, or no? All right. Barbara?
Merry Christmas and motion to adjourn.
Got a motion?
Second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We're adjourned.